Ready, Greg?
Ready, Jay.
You're listening to The Success Paradigm with your hosts, Jay Atkins and Greg Gray.
Well, Greg, we got a good one here. I know you're a little nervous today because this is someone real close to you, and I'm really excited to get to know Danielle even more than I know her now through you. But let me introduce Danielle Gray, which is Greg Gray's daughter, super successful daughter. Danielle Gray's MBA has one overall mission, and that is to remind people what it feels like to be human and connect with others on a genuine level. Known for her reliability and humor, Danielle began her career as a marketing strategist, composing proposals, writing content, running email campaigns, and generating leads online at a design build company. She contributed over 150 million in revenue from leads generated from the website in just 3 years. As owner of DG Marketing Company for just over 5 years, Danielle speaks around the country discussing content marketing, passion, and personal development in an ever-changing professional environment. More recently, Danielle created Safe Space to help address the personal and professional challenges that both firms and individuals face. Overall, she is devoted to creating genuine, humanized experiences that listen and solve instead of tell and sell. Danielle is also the owner of a CBD company, Unoia, which is a CBD lifestyle company focused on how CBD assists with mental illness, self-care, and mindfulness. She is a former Division I basketball player at Jacksonville University in Jacksonville, Florida, and holds both a bachelor's in marketing and an MBA from the institution. Now she resides in Atlanta, Georgia with her partner and 2 dogs. Danielle, welcome.
Thanks. That sounded really, really impressive. Like the way that you were talking about that. I really realized that I guess I've done a couple of things now. Dad.
Yes, indeed.
That's pretty cool. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So Danielle, that was your official introduction.
Right.
I'm going to give an unofficial introduction. What I know through your father and many conversations that we have about you. And we talk about you about daily. I always ask about you, and he's always very proud to talk about you. So I wanted you to hear from me because I think it's sometimes better to hear from somebody that has heard how your father talks about you. And the reason that we invited you on the show, because you needed to be on here because all he talks about is your success and how proud of you that he is on a daily basis. And that, you know, all of his dreams have come true through you and what you've been able to accomplish in your life. And you're also the only person that when I'm on the telephone with him and you call in, he says, I have to go. Danielle's calling me, which kind of upsets me a little bit, but I give it to him because it's you and it's his daughter. So I understand. But most of the time he's like, I'll call him back. But if it's you, he's like, hey, listen, I'll call you back. And I'm just like, yo. Right. Or if he's on the phone with you, he will say, I'm on the phone with Danielle. And what will I say to you, Greg?
Okay, pretty much.
But I usually give him a smart remark. Like,
yeah, it's more sarcastic than that. Yeah.
What is that supposed to mean? Like,
right.
Come on.
So Danielle, like I've heard about your journey with the marketing, the speaking, everything that you've done, and what I've heard the most about you is just the person that you are in the universe and what your goal. Like I read in your intro, but just who you are as a human being, and I just love hearing Greg talk about you and how proud of you that he is. And it makes me really proud of you. And I'm really proud to have you on here to kind of talk about your journey. You're super young to have this much success, which I think a lot of people need to understand. You don't have to be old to have success. You can have success whenever you want it. And that's what we want to talk to you about today. So where I want to start though, and what this podcast is about, is most people always see the glory, but they never actually know the story.
Yes.
And I know a lot about your childhood. I know a lot about your college and adulthood, but most people don't know what the struggles were, the mental struggles and the reason and the whys that you have now, why you want to impact people and empower people. So you can start where you want, kind of talking about those things. And what we really like to hear from our guests is some of the failures that actually you turned into success and some of the lessons that you learned that actually made you the person that you are today. So why don't you start telling the story where you want to start telling the story and kind of let us get to know you a little bit better. And then we'll go from there.
Well, yeah, I'm just like, where do I start? I think that there's things that have shifted me to where I am now, and that's what I'll talk about. That's what I'll focus on. I think the main thing is I have two parents that are entrepreneurs and that have hustled and worked their way up to where they are. So first of all, my foundation is pretty much set because I have someone, and I'm so grateful for the fact that I can always call my dad and say, "Hey, what am I supposed to do with taxes again? All of those things." I was able to just call up and navigate that journey, whether it be through basketball or college acceptance letters or whatever it is. I had a base that I could trust, so I'm grateful for that. I think that's a huge reason of why I am the way that I am. I think that there's also that student athlete piece in me as well, because you realize that you just have to push through. Like that's something that I learned through sports, and also the network, what teamwork means. So it's never you winning by yourself. It's winning with the team and understanding where everybody's roles are. So I think that being a student athlete, having that foundation, are really big pieces. As far as the failures, there's a lot of them. The first one that moved me was, and it's very similar to Michael Jordan's story, which I'm not saying I'm MJ. I'm just saying I had a similar experience, which was
Your dad said that you could take MJ though.
probably now. I could take MJ now, not in his prime MJ. Uh, but yeah, I got cut from my 10th grade varsity team and got held back into JV. And I just thought that was just so unfair. I could not believe that I felt like I was ready. But what I found later is that I needed more practice. I needed more practice so that wouldn't just sit on the bench in varsity, that I would actually move forward. And then there's like the later in life things, which was college basketball, college, my assistant coaches, all the things that came with, recognizing that I can be a leader, but you don't have to be the star of the show. As long like it's not what everybody else sees. Like you don't have to be the triple threat scorer, but you can still lead in a way that is example. That's what my dad taught me a long time ago. Example is not the main method of influence; it's the only way of influence. Only method of influence. Albert Einstein, and so that's something that I took with me very forever. And I think the biggest shift, to kind of fast forward, was when my mom got sick. My mom needed a liver transplant, and I had to quit my job, or at least I was trying not to quit my job. I had to move back up to Atlanta to be her sole caretaker. My mom hasn't remarried, and I'm her only child, so I had to really step up. So I I wanted to have an easy job. Not an easy job. I wanted to get a job just like everybody else. Let me just find one. Could not find one. And I kept on trying to do that, but turned out my path was to just be a entrepreneur and be able to give my content marketing and my brain power in a lot of different places than just in one company. But that was not easy. I was not really ready. Or when are you ever ready? That's not even. That's a whole nother conversation. But there was a lot of things that kind of went into that. But overall, I just kept on pushing through. I like who I am. I love who I am, and I think, like I said, I will always give it to my parents for giving me such a great foundation to start on.
Wow. So I do know a lot about a lot of what you just said.
Uh-huh.
So the question I would ask you, because I have insider information,
Uh-huh.
is that part of the struggle that all of us had, and especially when you kind of took those blows, like when you were talking about not being able to play varsity. I can remember that
Mm-hmm.
very specifically. So because it deals a blow to your confidence as well. When you're not where you think you're supposed to be at any point in time, you start. I mean, the questions start. It's like, so am I wrong, or somebody else got it wrong?
Right.
But so I remember I was there, Jay, when the first game that Danielle played after she did not make the varsity team. So, and I'm gonna characterize a little bit. I'm gonna stop talking because I want you to tell people, Danielle, what kind of went through your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, Danielle had played AAU basketball forever at that point, so very skilled. The high school she went to was a perennial power in terms of basketball, so it wasn't like it was super easy to be in varsity, even if you were. I mean, you had to earn your way up there.
Yeah.
So I remember when Danielle found out she was not going to play varsity, and she was crushed. But then the first game, all I can remember is this girl trying to inbound the ball. You know, Danielle is a defender. She's always been a huge defender. In fact, for those of you who know who Maya Moore is, Danielle was the person that was always assigned to Maya Moore in high school. That is in WNBA. Maya Moore. That was her assignment, and handled it very well. But I remember this young lady was trying to inbound the ball after Stevenson had scored, and you were under the rim, and she could not. There was something about Danielle's like, I'm taking this ball, and the girl threw the ball. Danielle snatched it and scored, and then threw it back to her, like, try it again. So what? Because that's a different gear you went in.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you remember that like I remember it, but.
Well, I would say that I have that feeling very often now. So that's when you were in it. I was like, oh, I know exactly what that feels like, because that's how I feel when someone says, oh, that's a cute little business you got going. I was like, okay, here, let's go, try to bring it in. Like that's where I go. And I think that what it comes to is I know that I have a power in me, and I don't ever want to depend on anybody else for that power, because I have it. I have all the tools inside, and so it's like, you can underestimate me all you want to. Go ahead. Actually, I prefer it, because then and I'm not trying to rub your face in it, because that's not where I am. But what I am going to do is show you, and show everybody else that's around you, and show myself. I think I just started to figure out that I am the mass. I'm what I'm looking for. If I have to prove myself, then so be it. But really, it's about proving it to myself, and I struggled with that for a long time. So I'm happy to be here now.
So would you say that, if someone says that you can't do something, or someone is, trying to tell you can't do something, that's kind of fuel for you?
It depends. It depends on what it is. Because if they're like, "Oh, you can't beat me," I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm not moved. Now, if it's about something that I believe I can do and someone doesn't think I can, game on for sure.
Right, it's jet fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a sprinkle on there.
But you mentioned, and so I'm going to go there with you because we go there with all of our guests, that there was a time when you didn't know yourself like that, and where confidence was really elusive. I mean, so, and I think that's not just the case for you. I think it's the case for everyone. But I know for you, that was one of those things. So, how did you? What was it, or what things, or what mindset allowed you to push through that? Because it's really hard to push through when your confidence is not where you want it to be.
Yeah. I really there's a couple of things that I realized what I was doing after going through a lot, just talking and figuring out life as I'm going. But one is I was overcompensating, trying to be so nice to people. And by trying to be so nice to people, you reduce your power, because it's not about being nice. You're a good person. You can be a good person, but to be overly nice and trying to be accommodating, not very helpful. So I think that that was one of the things I was doing, and I think that um, I still struggle with confidence. Like it's not like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be here. But I think with a lot of hard work and like, um, I think what I really got out of was like, it's nobody else is going to fix this but me. I have to figure this out. I have to figure out this confidence, because where I want to go, this part will not, it can't exist. And so I want this so bad that I'm like, okay, let me face it, okay. And what I started doing was affirmations. I'm really big on that, and just saying, I am powerful. I am powerful. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. I had to keep saying that to myself in the mirror, and I started to believe it. So it worked for me. And I think that's why now I'm like, all right, let's go, world, buckle up, because I figure I'm figuring it out, but I feel like at least that part I got something there. So
All right.
yeah.
So Danielle, what is one mistake,
Mhm.
one misstep that you've made in your life that actually made you better? You
There's
learned something. Just one major one though, one that would put most people to their knees and maybe not allow them to get back up, because they would just think it was such a devastating thing, that for you was like, you know what? In the moment it hurt, but
yeah,
after now looking back on it, you're like, you know what? That actually made me who I am today, or made me a better person today.
yeah. I think there's a couple. I would say my first partnership that I was trying to start the CBD company. Um, I was coming from a creative angle, coming from, I just I want to make something, but not recognizing all the other pieces to go with that. And so I think that I've I'm trying to think of, that taught me so many things. I'm just trying to figure out. It was so many things at one point, but I'll try to stick to this one. So I connected with this partner, and I was trusting everything that she was saying, that she really cared. And I think to some extent she did, but I think that in that moment I realized that people see my light and trying to take advantage of it. And so through that process, she wanted to take our name. She wanted to try to trademark what we were doing. I didn't understand a lot of, the operating agreements or any of that stuff. And she was literally going to take our company, for lack of better words. And so I had to I had to pay her for my name. I had to pay her for all of that stuff, and be in an amount of debt that I didn't plan on being in, which long term turned me into having to get a part-time job that I was getting paid significantly less. I was insufficient funds everywhere. And I have to figure out where, like, do I still want to do this dream of Unoia and the CBD thing? I have no money. I have a dream. I know what it's supposed to look like. And that wasn't too long ago, honestly. But we figured it out. I just knew what the world needs. People need this, and I had to. And honestly, my heart just couldn't let it go. I
So
couldn't let.
what was the clear defining mistake you made in that? I mean, and I hear you say trust, but I think sometimes you got to trust people, but there was something along the way that was in your gut,
Hmm.
that you believe might not have been true. So like looking back on it, what did you learn from it now going forward with, and trying to make sure that this company is stable. So like, because the listeners, what we want to do is help people not make the same mistake. So
Right,
what
right.
do you think the specific mistake in your process that you now know to look for, or that you made you better? And because it did bring it to your knees, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you're like, I had nothing. I still had this dream. Like, it brought you to your knees, and you're back up again. And that's 1% of people that
Mhm.
can actually go through that.
Yeah.
So what did you do in that moment with that partner that you could share with them to say, hey, don't do this whenever, or make sure you look at everything, or make sure that you have everything in writing, or make sure you have a good attorney, or make sure that you understand these agreements so that you don't get taken advantage of? What would that be?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely all those things that you just said, and to another level is valuing yourself. Make sure you know what your value when you go into these discussions. Because I thought, like, yeah, I have a good idea, but I don't know how to do that. I need somebody to do this. I need somebody to do that. So I would say, don't undervalue yourself. Understand what you're signing. Understand what you're getting yourself into. And sometimes it's worth the lawyer bill so you don't lose later, and that's what I was willing. I mean, there were so many things that I had to pay for because I was just not willing to go down that road again.
That's very good, because you know what? A lot of people in business are
Hmm.
cheap because
Hmm.
they don't have any money. And what you just said there is avoiding that attorney cost ultimately will end up costing you a lot more money in the long run, or just putting you completely out of business, bankrupt, credit card debt, whatever it is. So a lot of times that attorney bill is like, hey, it's going to be $7,500 to draw up this contract. You're like, whoa, where the heck am I going to come up with $7,500? Like, I'm just starting a business. And sometimes you just got to find a way, because that $7,500 investment can be a $75,000 return on investment, or a $750,000 return on investment, but it could ultimately be a $75,000 debt too.
Yes.
So that's the great takeaway from all of this, is just hire a good attorney, but
Yes.
also understand what you're getting yourself into. And I would say, probably what you learned too from just hearing it is just ask a lot of questions.
Yes.
Right. So make sure you ask questions, because a lot of times people are afraid to ask questions because they're afraid to hear the answer, and they're afraid it's going
Mhm.
to kill the deal. And if I ask the wrong question, then maybe someone's not going to want to do business with me. Who cares? Like, save yourself a lot of time, headache, and heartache. So that's a great, great, great takeaway, and a great lesson to teach people out there. Thank you for that.
Thank you
So,
for framing it up that way. That was really well done. Thank you.
so Danielle, one of the questions that we ask our guests sometimes is one that I would ask you, which is, so you've learned a lot, you've earned a lot, you've um, laughed a lot, you cried a lot. There's a lot of living. Most people may not be aware, but you're 32 years old, and to own one business and to be a senior partner in another business at 32 years of age and believe in it the way you do is kind of a act of courage all in and of itself.
Mhm.
But I want you to I'm going to put you in a time machine,
Mhm.
and I want you to journey back to 8 or 9 year old Danielle.
Mhm.
And what would you tell 8 or 9 year old Danielle about what she should be doing or thinking or feeling about her future, um, that she really needs to know?
You're beautiful. Like, and not just externally, but you have such a light that you can change the world. And don't ever forget that. Because I think that there are so many times where I was trying to be so courteous and not completely live in my most powerful self to make everybody else feel comfortable, because my power would intimidate them. I just had the wrong people around me. And I feel like that when I was able to really let that power out, I feel free. And I think even that 8 or 9 year old would be proud of me now, that I am still having fun. I laugh and I'm goofy and I'm still playing. I still know the art of play. I know all of those things. So yeah, sta- yeah, that was a good one. Woo.
Yeah, because I knew the 8 or 9 year old
Yeah,
kid as a kid too.
yeah.
Um, so I'm going to throw you another curveball here.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So one of the things, and it's not totally a curveball. This is inside baseball a little bit.
Mhm.
But one of the things that you shared, um, the first time, well, you shared it a few times, but in the last few years, there's something you said a few times that I think is probably really important for young entrepreneurs, and young people in general, to really get their arms around. And you and I had a conversation once because we are both, if you guys haven't figured this out, pretty strong-willed people. Uh, we have pretty strong opinions, and so there was a time, in fact, I spent a lot of time trying to be Danielle's ventriloquist and speak for her in different settings and stuff. In fact, she kind of really read me at one basketball thing. The guy asked the question like 3 times, Jay.
Why you put your hand on my back sometimes?
That could be, could be.
Me to say,
So yes, so and Danielle had to be, maybe this is 10th or 11th grade or something, and so the guy was asking, it was like a seminar, and he kept asking these questions, and I would answer all of the questions that he was asking Danielle. And later she's like, Dad, I can answer that for myself. And so there's always been that independence, which I love, which is a treasure. But I do know that with that independence sometimes comes the, even later in life, is like, am I asking? Because, you know, the openness that you have developed to
Yeah,
the things that we talk about.
yeah,
So talk a little bit about that journey, because it
yeah.
was a journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like that feeling like I can do it myself, right? Like I don't need anything else. But I think as you get older, and I guess in really going through things that you don't want to mess up, you don't have time to mess up. It's like, okay, look, what would you do? Because I need help. And I think that that comes with time, but I also think it comes with really having a bigger picture. Like, what do you want to be right, or do you want to be right long term? And so I think that I gave up on trying to be right. Like, I'm like, I don't know. Hey dad, I've never done this before, and being honest and transparent about that. And I think that that also, by acknowledging that I don't know something, I'm much more likely to listen and also to do my own research. And that came from also that experience with the contracts and all that stuff, not understanding that stuff. So yeah, I am much more open because I want to win, and I want everybody to win. And so what does that look like? I don't have all the answers. I think that yeah, I think that just kind of came with failure, and like, okay, yeah, all right, I don't want to hit my elbow on this same thing anymore. Can somebody please tell me how you get around this? Because I'm trying to really get past it. So I think that that's a real situation. I just got tired of hitting. If I can avoid the potholes, I'm going to now.
Yeah, so and that's true. But the thing that I want people to know about that journey, since because I witnessed it, was not that you just figured it out,
Mhm.
but that you actually said it. So I remember
Yes,
uh,
acknowledge.
there was a pivotal conversation that you and I had where you said, "Dad, you know what? It was something like, have you noticed that I don't have a problem asking you anymore, or I just want you to tell me I'm okay with you telling me, even if it's not something that I saw or agree with."
Mhm.
Um, it was a pivotal moment, and you said you guess that comes with age. Well, I'll tell you, and Jay knows this too, and people that are watching this podcast know that it doesn't always come with age.
Mhm.
There are people who are in their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s who still will say, you know what, I don't need to hear what, I got this figured out, I got this. and still will not be open to advice, whether you take it or not. And I think that's the key part, is that just
Yeah.
because you hear it doesn't mean you have to do it, but that there's a humility that comes along with saying, you know what, he's already, I have the same kind of relationship with Jay. I was like, okay, so he's already been on that highway. I have
Yeah.
two choices.
Yeah.
I can just get out on that highway and hit all the potholes, or I can say, Jay, where are the potholes?
Right.
But there's a maturity and humility that comes along with that. So I didn't want you to shortchange that
Thank you.
answer, because it's a big deal and it's something a lot of us struggle with. So
And I think it was really like a fear of being wrong. So I don't want to hear it because then what if what you say actually makes sense and then I have to go back and assess everything that I just thought, which that's where I was because I wanted to do it the way that I saw it. It's kind of like proofreading or anything. It's like, yeah, I just wrote it. It's done. That's what I used to do. Danielle, you have to proofread. You didn't just get it all right just then. Have someone else look at it. And that's okay. That doesn't make me any less powerful or able to do it. So I think that was a big part of it too.
Well, it sounds like, you were able to get your ego in check, right? Because the fear of being wrong is
Hmm.
all about ego, right?
Yeah.
And how you're going to look to people and how people are going to, judge you. And again, judgment is all ego. Worrying about what people think is all ego. And I think that's a really powerful thing.
Yeah.
You can let go of ego and just, it's okay if you're wrong. Wrong is failure. And we had someone come on Facebook and said that think of failure as data, not destruction.
Yeah.
And most people think is destruction, right? It brings them to their knees, and it's like, oh my God, I made this bad decision. I'm so stupid. And then what are people going to think? And you think about all this ego. You don't think about ego. Your ego takes over. So it's good that you got that in check, especially at such a young age. Actually, you look way younger than 32. When you threw her age and threw her under the bus like that, Greg, I'm just kidding. I was just like, wow, I thought you were like 24, 25. I mean, you look so young. Like Greg. Greg looks, he looks
oh boy, there
uh,
we go. Next question.
Greg looks super young. So hey, when I'm interested for a 32-year-old. You're 15 years younger than me, and it's just crazy. I used to be the youngest guy in every single room, and now I feel like I'm the oldest guy. But the success paradigm, when we talk about success, everyone's success is different, right? When I read your bio, I know you want to make money, but that's not your mission, right? And the people that make the most money is when money is not their mission. And it's when people are. And then the money just comes, right? It just happens. But when your focus is money, that's when people give up and fail because they're focused on the wrong thing. They're focused on just the money and selfish and how much money can I get in my bank account. So when you hear the word success, if you had a magic wand and you could create success, what does success mean to you and look like? What is that visual? And again, we know success can change tomorrow, right? You can wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what, this is not enough. I want to do more. I want to impact more people's lives. But today, as we sit here, what does success look like for Danielle Gray? Like if you arrived and you said, you know what, I feel like I was successful. Because I know you have this insatiable drive that is, you're nowhere near where you want to be. But where is that? Where do you be? What does success look like for Danielle?
So I think overall it looks like a tribe of people that I can help impact and see that what happiness can be, and reminding people again that they're human. I think that looks like doing that moment for me is like, on the TED Talk stage or on these, big stages speaking about what passion looks like, why it's important to shed and and go through all of that those failures, because that's the other thing that I've learned is everything happens in time. It's all about timing. So I think that's why I'm not in a rush anymore. I was really in a rush, but I know that success, I've already reached it because people have already reached out to me and say that their life has been impacted because of me, because of something that I said, or just my excitement about life. Like, wow, you're serious. Like, you really believe this. Like, yeah, I really think I really believe to my core that I can change the world. And I want other people, but what success it looks like to me is believing and having a whole like tribe of people that believe that same thing and create all of these, and we call them in for the Unoia beautiful thinkers, creating all these beautiful thinkers that are powerful, that know they can conquer the world, that are community based. I just want everybody to know what it feels like to be happy and to choose your own life. That's really that's what I want. And I'm on my way. I feel like it's if I've done one, I've done that. I don't need money, but it would be nice. It would be nice to have a little bit more of it. I'm not gonna lie. But I think to your point, it's showing up. It's already happening.
Nice.
So Jay asked earlier about failures.
Mhm.
Because and again, one of the biggest parts of this whole conversation that we have every week is about the journey.
Mhm.
So there are things that are not necessarily failures, but are really difficult.
Mhm.
There's hard stuff.
Yeah.
So on your journey, talk about hard stuff. Where was there, and I mean the kind of stuff that, like, again, it's not about a failure, but it's like at some point in time you sit back and you're like, you know what, never mind. No,
Yeah.
this is just too much, whether it was in school or what, because I think powering through the hard stuff
Mhm.
is something that is a big part of success. And it's a lot of things, it's something that I think all of us at some time struggle with, because hard shows up in different parts of our life.
Right.
So um, tell me about some hard stuff that you powered through that made you stronger.
Sure. I think all of the hard stuff that I have been going through is mostly speaking up for myself. So, in conversations that are so uncomfortable to where, this business person is saying that, hey, this is what I want, this is what I want, and I have to do that same thing. And it's like I was so scared of being a different person. I was scared that I was gonna have to become this shark to get to where I wanna be. And those conversations of saying, no, I'm not okay with that percentage. That was hard. It was so hard because I could say, okay, and we could move forward and it would be easy. But I think a lot of it is, yeah, I can't work for you anymore because I'm worth more than that.
Mm.
I can't accept what you're giving me because I am worth more than that. And I think that that was from my own personal work and that journey of really loving myself, like really, really loving on myself, because I feel like when you really love yourself, you don't let bad things happen to someone you love. How can I love someone else more than that. Like, oh, I'm going to protect this person, but not protect myself. So I think that I went through that whole loving on myself journey. So I'm like, no, you know what? I deserve this. I deserve the success that I'm getting. I deserve a piece of that and a piece of that, and not feel bad about it like I'm some horrible person. Those are the hard conversations. And then I think the other hard conversation is trying to figure out if you which walking without seeing it, and trying to sell people on what nobody else can see. And so it's like, no, I know this is happening, but I can see it. And trying to explain your vision to someone is a very hard conversation too. But also recognizing not everybody deserves to hear that conversation. And because that takes a lot of energy to share your heart because you're being so vulnerable, telling them what your vision is. I had to start being really picky because it was taking too much of my soul to give that to the wrong people. So yeah, though speaking up for myself consistently, but it's necessary.
Okay.
So Danielle, I love that, and I think a lot of people are afraid to speak up because it makes them uncomfortable.
Mhm.
But most people do know what their self-worth is. They're just afraid to stand up for themselves and talk about that self-worth because they're afraid of losing the deal, losing the job, losing the position, losing, their credibility because someone might not believe that. So I love that you said speak up for yourself. No one's ever actually said that on here before, and I think more people need to do that. So let me transition to, I know, knowing your dad and how you grew up, that there probably are some daily habits that have gotten you to this point to become an entrepreneur and build a business. And what is one habit that you do every single day to get you through the tough times, or that helps you be a better entrepreneur, a better significant other, a better, like, what is a one habit that every day I'm going to do this, no matter what's happening in my life, that other people could kind of tag along and maybe incorporate into their life and create the same success you have?
So I would say meditate. Really just taking a moment. Because when I wake up, my head's like, I gotta do, it's like a whole jumbled mess in my head, and I want to get it done, and then I feel horrible if I don't get it done, and all this stuff, and then it's not always the right sequence or the right way to do it. So I really have to just sit with myself by myself every single day and really figure out, Danielle, what can we agree to today? What can we knock out today? And I do that sometimes walking the dogs, which is great because I'll think of some of the best things when I'm active and moving. I don't work out every day, but I'm working on it. That's why I didn't say that one. But definitely just like the decompression of just meditation and breathing. Like it's
Yeah,
not.
your dad's probably not a good accountability partner on working.
Although I picked my game up, we actually spoke about this the other day.
Oh, it's
So,
funny. We spoke about it today, Greg.
Yeah,
We also
that's true.
actually spoke about meditation today,
That's
and
correct.
I
Sorry, Dad.
Hadn't turned the corner on that one.
yeah, been doing so, and I didn't even know. I thought, now it's Danielle that actually has got you on the other side. I thought it was me. I was driving into this podcast thinking, Greg, and I had nothing to do with it. It was all Danielle. So I should have called you, Danielle, and said, "Hey, listen, these are the couple things I'm trying to get your dad to do."
Right. Exactly.
So I know he loves you, and if you just tell him that it would be really important for him to do these things, he would do them. So yeah, we talked about meditation. Now, is there a form of meditation that you do, or do you, because there's a lot of, I do transcendental meditation. I know there's all kinds of different self meditations online, and is there a certain meditation that you do?
So there's been several, but the one that I do consistently at least once a day is a breathing one. So what I'm doing is just completely focusing on my breath. So I'm trying to clear it. The best way for me to describe it is I'm sitting at a park bench and my thoughts are going by, but I don't try to follow them. I'm just people watching and not allowing anything to stick, but just kind of letting all the thoughts kind of walk by, but not get completely, into it or go down that path just watching it and breathing, just literally thinking to myself, inhale, exhale for a couple of minutes. I just feel so much better and just much more calm. That and to be completely honest, I have my CBD, which also helps me just really relax before those difficult conversations. All of those things, I'm just able to just namaste. Let's all relax. Let's figure out how we approach this.
Yeah, I started meditating 2 years ago. I wish I would have. I mean, if I would have started at your age,
Mhm.
I just think I would have accomplished so much more. I think meditation is the key, and meditation comes in many forms. I mean, you can pray. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a form of meditation, but actual meditation. And I like how you put it, because meditation is all about being with yourself.
Mhm.
And some people aren't comfortable being with themselves, right? I mean, they're not comfortable with their own thoughts, and so that's where you've got to work on you and love yourself more than anybody else could ever love you, right? And that's what meditation does for you, is you get comfortable in your own skin. So
Mhm.
I think and I don't know if we've ever had anybody share meditate either as a habit. So I love
Well, there you go. You're welcome. I don't know why I'm taking credit for that, but I just thought I would jump in
Thank you,
there.
Dad.
You
Thank
just
you.
need to, you need to
Yes.
start, Greg.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm meditating on it now
You're
we speak.
usually about a 9-month process. I've noticed. I've recognized.
Yeah, it's
You talk about
yeah,
something and then
that's correct.
yeah,
I give birth to it. That's exactly
yeah, yeah,
correct. It's a
yeah,
good
it's about
gestation
9 months.
period.
9 months.
Okay. So um I want to talk, and we've had a lot of very powerful established and influential women be part of this podcast too. So I want to pivot a little bit to that because we have a lot of women that watch this podcast and a lot of guys that watch it that probably could be informed by hearing it come from someone's lips other than maybe their significant other or somebody.
Mhm.
So I know that one of the things that was a a big lift for you, and lift as in journey, as in picking up a lot of weight type lift, was when you were working basically for the design build company. It was basically an engineering type firm, very male dominated, very nice people there, but very male dominated. And so uh, in walks this 6 foot, because Danielle is 6 feet tall
My
with
Lord.
and bare feet. So if she comes in with heels, she's taller than pretty much everybody there. I don't think anyone would disagree with me if I said that she is also strikingly beautiful
Thanks, Dad.
and she is incredibly smart. So you have, at that time in her 20s, mid to early 20s, strong, tall, beautiful, young Black woman walking into an engineering firm and having the task of saying, "So, hey guys, this is how we should be doing this."
Yeah.
So, and there's a number of different configurations that women are much more familiar with than I would ever be familiar with. So, in a space like that, because I know you thrived in that space, but I know it was tough. So, what would you tell um, women, especially young women, about not losing themselves in that in an environment that might seem like it's kind of swallowing them up?
You
Told
know,
you we asked interesting questions here.
yeah, and I'm all for it because I'm just thinking because I had such a unique experience
Okay.
because I had a lot of different. There was so many different diversities that I was coming into that I couldn't even call what they were mad about. Like it could be because I'm woman, it could be because I'm black. I have no clue what. Right? So I did what I started to do is not about you. I like I don't you acting like that, that's about you. That's about you projecting whatever you're going through. I think I learned that as now. This is not young Danielle talking. I
Mhm.
figured that out along the way. But they're projecting their insecurities and their issues. Um, and I think just what I would tell a woman walking into that environment is to be you and walk in that room and be every bit of the height that you are. If you're 5 foot tall or 6 foot tall, own it and not in a way of I'm not trying to when I enter a room, I'm not putting anybody down. I'm only just rising to my potential. If my potential offends anybody, that's something else because that's what happens. I think that by me looking at it that way, I was like, "Oh, you're offended by my power. Well, I must be doing something right." So, I think that
On.
yeah. So, I think that that's what this is about, and you know, just be who you are. That's what I would say. I think that's something that has worked best for me is staying true to who I was. I thought that I needed to be something and my authenticity didn't really show up until I was comfortable with who I was and I was able to do my job better. I was able to speak better, connect with people better because I was outwardly who I am. So, yeah, be you.
I mean, I think that's great advice for women and men. I think
Mhm.
Mhm.
humans, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
just you have to always be you. And I will tell you, I've had this factor in my life, and I've talked to Greg many, many, many times about this. Is there's for whatever reason, the way I carry myself, there's an intimidation factor, and I can see that in you. Like when you walk in a room, you have confidence. Like here, I'm here to play. Who wants to play? And it's also a competitive thing. Being in sports, like you show up on the court, your shoulders aren't down, your shoulders are back. Like we're gonna win. Like we're gonna do
Right,
whatever we need to win.
right.
So people are intimidated by that, right? And I think just always rise to your potential. And if it intimidates people, you're probably in the wrong place anyways, right? If the owner of that company is afraid of your potential or afraid, you're working for the wrong company because you're going to feel like you're in a box the whole entire time.
I want to say that to add on to that too is that it's not even like I'm walking in to win. I'm a winner. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't have to win because we're not at a this isn't a competition. This is I've already won. You can win too. I'm not taking that away. You're a winner if you want, or you're a loser. Whatever you want to do. I'm entering the room to build whatever community that is and make that a better place. I'm not looking to win, but I'm a winner of that. I just want to confirm that. Yeah.
Do you think it's harsh to say if you're intimidated, you're a loser? Is that too harsh?
I
Mm.
wouldn't call anybody a loser. I would just say they have areas of improvement. Let's say that. Like maybe there's something that not
Um,
intimidated, but
Step up the game.
yes. I mean, like I'm
No
not.
one's gonna intimidate you.
Yeah, I'm not here to babysit you. Is what I'm saying. Like that's where I am now. Not in a mean or, but I have things. Let's change the world. I'm not gonna make you go. Okay. Oh, did I? You know, I'm not there anymore.
I hurt your ego. Because that's
Yeah.
what you're doing, right? When people are intimidated, you hurt their ego. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna raise a question that I ask a lot on here, to change it up for you a little bit.
Hmm.
And that is, I know how many lives you wanna impact, right? And let's just say, instead of having a morbid thought and you're leaving, let's just say Danielle has impacted the world so greatly that at 40 years old, she's gonna go live the rest of her life, celebrating her own life.
Hmm.
And as you're going off stage for the last time because you've done your job here, and there were 3 things that you were gonna leave this audience with. 3 things, could be 3 words, 3 attributes, 3 things that you would want them to live their life by every single day, and what Danielle Gray should be known for,
Hmm.
and what Danielle Gray is gonna live the rest of her life with. What would those 3 things be?
That's good. That's a very good question. I think the first thing would be take accountability for who you are. Um, because that really leads itself to no longer being a victim, become a master, master yourself. I would then say something that has helped me a lot is saying, you know, I am no more powerful than anybody else, and I'm no less powerful than anybody else. And that to me, if I'm as powerful as Oprah, I mean, that's pretty awesome. Um, and the last thing, because I'm a marketer, that's what I'm gonna say, is build a brand with soul. Um, remember that people have feelings, and there's something to human connection. I think that there's just something to it. So don't forget what human connection feels like, and cherish that. I think that would be.
Those are amazing, Danielle. I love that. Look, Greg is speechless right now. He can't even.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So, and I just texted it to her just 3 minutes ago. The fact that she could recall it that quickly is amazing.
Yeah, no, I
So,
She didn't even look at her phone. That was good.
no, that's how we do it right there.
yes, yes. So the the marketer in you.
Hmm.
So this is more inside baseball, because one of the things that I would want everybody to know about you, and about a lot of our guests, is that um, typically people who have kind of figured things out uh, tend to be more understated. What I find is that people who always have a megaphone are probably the ones that are shouting the most are the ones that are trying to figure things out the most.
Hmm.
So there's a level of being understated that I think is kind of that quiet, calm, I'm good with me kind of
Hmm.
thing. So one of the conversations that you and I have had forever, that I think you also live into, and that you didn't say, but I want to say it on your behalf, since
Mhm.
we're not in that 10th grade room where the seminar guy is
Please
going,
do, please do.
is it's it's never it's always been about being your best.
Mm.
Always. Um, from when you were a little bitty kid.
Yeah.
It's like, if there was, or if it was after a basketball game that you lost or anything, the question always was, did you do your best?
Your best, not
Your best,
your.
not necessarily the best,
Mhm,
because other people might be better in the moment,
mhm.
but did you do your best? And you have always lived into that. I mean, sometimes that question hurts our feeling. The answer hurts our feelings a little bit because we know the answer sometimes is yes, sometimes it's no, but you've always lived into it.
Mhm.
And one of the ways that I think, because we used to talk a lot, and we still do talk a lot about how we're impacting people. And there's a conversation that we had that I just want people to know about, Jay. So this is kind of like us, um, a little inside baseball here. But we were talking about something, and it was like, I want you to, at some point in time, you're going to be walking somewhere, you're going to be somewhere, and there's going to be a little girl, and she's going to look at you, and she's going to just go,
Mhm.
wow.
Mhm.
And the thing is, you may never know that. I mean, you may never see that glance from a little girl or from a little boy or just a child. And I remember having that conversation with you. And I think what is so awesome is that today, even, the little girl or the little girl in a woman, or the little boy or the little boy in a woman, gets a chance to look and go, wow,
Yeah.
you know, almost like they're trying to figure out the Danielle puzzle. Like, this can't be, is she like this all the time?
Mhm.
It's just, but you mentioned the quote that example is not the main method of influence, it's the only method of influence. And that sometimes the most impact you have is when you're not aware of it.
Mhm.
And you've always been mindful of that. And so I just wanted to shout you out on that, because I know that you are aware that, whether it's because you're the tallest person in the room, or whether it's because you have the brightest smile, or because you have the coolest shoes, or whatever it is at any point in time, that somebody else is looking.
Yeah.
And we are always impacting other people. Every one of us is always impacting other people. The question really is how you're doing it,
Mhm.
and to what end. And is it impacting them in a way that's positive, or impacting them in a way that's negative? So the impact is a given.
Mhm.
It's what the impact is.
Right.
So if you are going to, um, and you kind of said this before, but I just want to revisit it. So what is, when someone is looking at you,
Mhm.
what is it that you hope they see?
True. Like, true. Like, she is true. That is exactly who she is. And I can do that too. And I don't have to be afraid of anybody, you know?
Mhm.
You just being as strong as possible and staying true to who you are. I think that that's the coolest thing, because it's almost like I was envisioning this little girl that I do see every once in a while, and she's looking at me like, "How the heck did you do that?" Said I stayed true to exactly who you are right now. That little girl that believes in dreams, that believes in making an impact and not letting the world hit her a couple of times, knock me down, was like hit several times, but you just wipe it's just I have to stay true to me, because that is when I give my best product, is when I'm myself completely. And that's what I think people see, and that's what I want them to see, is to give them confidence to truly be who they are, and realize that that's the trick. Is being unapologetic, being who you are. And they're like, "Whoa." even people that, and what I realized, because there's so many diversities that I can juggle, I'm like, hey, human, let's do that. Humans deal with having caring, acceptance, love, failure, all of those things. And that's what I realized when I was doing all the speaking engagements, is that's what they saw from me. It's like, is that somebody that is thinking that, oh wow, you inspired me. I'm like, I have nothing in common with you. But then you realize we are all going along the same path, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, human.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is what humans do is we always overcomplicate
Mhm.
every single thing. Besides, if we just realize we're all just
Yeah.
human, we got to get up, put our pants, our dress, whatever we wear
Yep.
in the morning. We got to shower every day. We got to, have a great attitude. We got to like take care of people. We got to. I mean, we're all the same. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter if you're from, Russia, Africa,
Yep.
South America. Like, and I think, you know, that's what you speak to. And I love your message because, people do walk in the room and at first glance think, I have nothing in common with this person because we're a very judgmental
Mhm.
society and we look at someone's hair, or we look at someone's smile or someone the way they're dressed. And the bottom line is we are all exactly 100%, 1000%, 1,000,000% the same.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Identical.
Yeah.
And we all deal with the same mess in our head, the ego, all the things that we've been through in life, all the failure and everything. And I just love that you use the word human because I think that's everything in life. If we just said human instead of, woman, man,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
transgender, whatever, every
Right.
term, every title that everyone has to have, we're all just human. Like
Mhm.
a human being right there. Like I mean, I'm not a gorilla, I'm not a zebra, I'm not a giraffe. I'm a human. Like that's what I am. I breathe air like you do. I can get cancer like you do. I can have a heart attack. I can have a stroke. I can have anything happen to me. And I think that's what it really all boils down to. So, like you said, when you walk in a room and then someone hears you talk, they're like, "Crap, I am like her." You know?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm actually just like her.
Right. And
That's
that's
a
that's
beautiful
really
thing.
cool. Yeah, it's really cool to see and people to even share that. And I'm grateful that they do, because it's helped me be more and more comfortable. Because not everybody shares. I could speak to a group of 300, but I remember giving this really, really personal presentation. I remember calling you right after, Dad. And I had only talked about content marketing from before then. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I'm supposed to be talking about. I'm supposed to be talking about passion. I'm supposed to be talking about freedom and vulnerability, and like that's what I want. I want freedom. And I
Yeah.
want everybody to have that same level of freedom, freedom of themselves, to financial freedom, to all those freedom. Just be free and be you. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's a great way to actually open up a gig and, to connect with an audience and just, say, listen, a lot
Mhm,
of you are looking at me right now and probably thinking we have nothing in common.
mhm.
We have everything in common. We're all the same,
Yeah.
and I think it's a powerful message to get into that passion and everything. I think you're onto something there. It's really, really, really good. So, let me ask you, and I don't know, your dad and I, before we met each other, were not, avid readers. We did it, begrudgingly, um, because we either were forced to do it or we needed to do some research on something. But we are now, avid readers because of helping each other hold each other accountable, towards this end, and it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Um, what are the 3 best books that you've ever read that have impacted your business?
Sure. Four agreements. Top, top, very top. Um, I would also say What I Know for Sure from Oprah, which is also a really great one. Um,
What I know for sure.
yeah, What I Know for Sure. The audio version is really great because you can hear her actually have conversations with
Give
people.
me give me a little context behind it. What's it about?
So it's about so she interviews a lot of different people, and like saying, what I know for sure is that this is how that we're all the same, or it's like a lot of things that she's like as a human, it has the same theme. As humans, this is what I know for sure. I know if you put your very best out there, it's going to come back. Like that's the kind of things that she would talk about and
That's very
interview a lot of different people.
okay.
That's one of my favorites. And I think it was daring great. I think it's daring to be great or daring greatly. It's Brene Brown. And the power of vulnerability with almost everything that Brene Brown does is like gold to me. And then personally, I would say Mastery of Love, which is also a great one. But I almost listen to the Four Agreements almost every morning.
Wow.
Yeah, because
That's
it's like 2 hours listening to it, and it's like, yes, I need to be, impeccable with my word today. Do my best. Those things just keep on playing, and yeah. So those
Is
are
there
my.
any reason, Greg, that your daughter's not in our book club? Because I mean, we should make her VP, I think. And then
So, well, that position is taken,
COO.
first of all.
Okay.
But yeah, so I will tell you that when Danielle was over at the house not long ago, what I do is all of the books from the book club, as I give them to
Yes,
her.
yes.
So in the moment, book club on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, next little book club on Facebook, get the plug. Perhaps she could, I mean, she would blow it up. I'm telling
I would
you.
love for her to be on there every Wednesday and hear her perspective way more than yours. I mean, just to hear her perspective. It could be-
I would love that because I need to push myself because I've been rereading several of them. Like The Alchemist is another one that I just keep on reading over and over again. But I need some new ones, and I have the ones my dad gave me literally, but I have not cracked them open. I
Yeah,
find
I mean,
yeah,
what we do is we read. I mean, literally, we read 15 pages a day. And I think Greg is reading more. We talked this morning. We haven't even started. The book is like the second book in line. He's already 100 pages in. But if you just read 15 pages every day, so I meditate.
oh, I like that.
And then I read 15 pages right after I meditate because my mind's the most open and clear and free. And then for you and Greg that don't like to work out, I work out right after that, and it kind of just embeds it more, and it gets it out of the way, and it's not looming over me. Greg,
Is
it's
that a shade tree in your office? I'm sorry, I didn't know.
20 podcasts, and I haven't given you shade. The audience needs to see what happens on a day-to-day basis and the real conversation. So
This
I
is
think it would be best to do it in front of your daughter.
every day. Yes.
Our friendship, because I know
Yes.
Danielle playing sports understands that talk and smack is love. So it's all about disrespect. So, that's right. And I love your dad lots. He is one of my very, very, very best friends. We talk on a daily basis, and when I don't talk to him, it's going to sound like like I'm in love with him or something. But I do.
He is.
I do. A little bit. I
Yeah,
do
he
feel,
is.
I feel distant. I wonder if he's mad at me. Like if I call him on a Saturday, he doesn't answer my calls. So and then I just think when he doesn't answer my calls, I'm like, he's talking to Danielle. So.
I'd like to give a little bit of flowers to my dad too right now because I am 100% sure that I would not be who I am today if I did not have his guidance. And he really believes in me. And I think that I hope and pray that everybody has someone that believes in them around them. I think that can make such a big deal. And that's why I've shared him for most of my life, my friends that maybe didn't have a father figure or maybe they did and it was very different. He's a different kind of guy and he cares and he's involved. And I am so grateful to have had that foundation and to, especially for women that don't have fathers, I think that they struggle with that a lot more of that confidence and love that I'm grateful that I at least had a foundation to jump on it in that way. I don't know a better man. I'm just I got lucky. I got real lucky and I'm so grateful. So I'm glad that I'm making him proud in the process.
No doubt about it.
Mm.
No doubt about it. So, all right, it's yeah, we need to start getting some takeaways here because we're both getting
Well, I
emotional.
was just going to ask one more question.
Oh,
I like to find out who people are following, so the people that are watching If there's anybody that you're watching on TED Talk, anybody that you're watching on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, anybody that's you're keeping a close eye on right now that's putting some good content out there.
I am a big fan of Anne Hanley. It's and Hand Ley.
Is it Ann, like ANN?
Yeah, yes, ANN. Yeah, and she wrote this book called Everybody Writes. I remember her because I went to a business to business, like B2B marketing conference, and I saw her presenting, and I said I can do that. And from that moment, no matter how much she knows how she impacted me, I said she was herself up there being entertaining but also very helpful. And I was like, I can do that. And I followed her ever since, and now she's doing even bigger things than she was when I first saw her. She has a book, she has a lot of things. And then Brene Brown, all day and night. Brene Brown's I I aspire to create something very similar around passion that Brene Brown has done, the vulnerability. So
So, and you answer this. I know I said one more question, but I have one more that I want to get back to. But I know the answer to it, and I'm sure you've had several.
mhm.
I'm sure your dad was one of your biggest mentors. But what do you think is the biggest thing that he ever taught you? One thing. What's the biggest thing that Greg Gray taught you?
Oh, whoa, that's a good one. I gotta think about this. There's so many things. I think about how to how to really ask questions. I know that there's a lot of big things, but I think that is the most consistent thing is knowing how to speak with people and showing love, but also respect for them, respect for yourself, not letting emotions take that the way into that. Because he's a poet at speaking. He's really really great at it, and able to get across a message that even if he may not even be he may be killing you, but you think that it's really nice, so it's all good. You're like, well, he believes in me still, so
Yeah. Well, I always call him a ninja.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very good, and
It's like
I've learned.
Chinese stars be coming out of like space you didn't even know, and all of a sudden, they'd be hitting you right between the eyes. You're like, wow, wait, is there a Chinese star in the
Right,
middle?
right. Exactly. Several times that's happened on my end. So
Yeah, after you walk out of the room, you're just like, hmm,
yeah, that was a lesson.
how did he do that? Did he just throw that at me? Like, did
Right. I didn't even feel it.
I walk in the room with All right,
You guys are
Daniel, this
funny.
is awesome. You have such a great energy. You and Greg Gray have such a great energy. I can't wait to actually spend some time with you when COVID decides to disappear.
Yes,
By the way, I did see a little thing that came up on my computer. Kamala Harris is the VP.
I did
Yes.
Yeah.
saw
So
that.
good news. So I'm going to get into this recap and talk about all of these nuggets that you dropped. And I'm not sure if your dad told you, but him and I are writing a book together called The Success Paradigm, and we're going to take some of these takeaways and elaborate on them. So are you okay if we quote you from some of these things that we talked about?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So first one, winning as a team is always better and easier. You always, no matter what, need more practice. You can be a leader, but not necessarily the star. You are never ready for the next step. Just take it. Never depend on anyone for your own power. Let others' doubt fuel you. Be a great person, but being nice to the wrong person is never advantageous. Know your value. Understand what you are getting yourself into always. Don't be cheap. Invest on the front end. Everyone is a light and has the ability to change the world. Don't worry about intimidating people. If they're intimidated, they're the wrong circle. Never let go of the art of play. Always have a big picture in mind. Your mentor taught you how to ask the right questions. Be open to learn so you can always win more. Avoid potholes. Don't reinvent the wheel. And always be your best and do your best. Always speak up for yourself. Never take the easy road. Love yourself more than anyone else ever could. The habit that you do every single day that can change people's lives is meditate. And people should always look at you and see truth. Showing what people, what you want to leave the world with is showing people what happiness looks like, teaching people to understand failure, empower people to conquer their own world, and don't take projections personal. Always be you, always rise to your potential. Have people that believe in you around you all the time. People that you're following is Anne Hanley and Denise, what was her name?
Renee Brown.
Renee Brown. I've read a couple of her books. Couple of books that you recommend for agreements, what I know for sure, Daring Greatly and Mastery of Love. I love the personal recommendation. Also, take accountability. You are no more powerful or less powerful than anyone else on earth. Build your brand, your own personal brand, and a brand that you're building with soul. And human connection is everything. And that is Danielle Gray, my friends that are listening. So young, so wise, so smart, and one of the best energy that I've ever been around, Danielle. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to share all of your knowledge, all of your experience, all your failures, and really just being and speaking truth. We really appreciate you.
Yes, and so I want to take a point of personal privilege. There's something that Danielle and I have said to each other since I think she was 3 years old. We were trying to describe how much we loved each other, and so it was like, is it this much? Is it that much? And she said, well, what's the biggest number? And I said, it's infinity. And so for 28, 29 years, the way we address each other and the way we close, I'll do the first part, Danielle, you do the last part, okay? Is I love you.
More than infinity.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.